Areas from the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where we help you elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive. Good to hear. Good to hear from you. So feel free. We actually are live again. It's been a while since we were live, so feel free to comment if if you're available right now. I should be able to see it. Um, so whether you're on Twitch or on our YouTube live stream, feel free to make any comment or question. I should be able to see it, so go for it. Okay, but anyways, go ahead and get over some of our announcements. So we are starting the summer session at UCLA. So those of you, so I think, beyond students, because we're getting a lot of questions about who can join the class, and so obviously students, whether you're undergrad, grad, whatever, and it seems like there are quite a lot of grad students who take the class. So again, feel free. But also, I guess there's several students who take the class who are like relatives or live with UCLA students, or I think maybe even staff or something like that. So again, you can also take the class. Just I'm not sure exactly how that works. You would have to check out like the requirements or whatever. I think some people just have to show like the shared address or whatever. So that's kind of how it works. You just got to prove that you guys live in the same place. So I know several students uh, who've taken that route, and so then I think one person was the student, and then the whole apartment, like all the roommates, were able to take our classes. So it was something like that. So and also, if you're an alumni or whatever, I think you also can get access. So there's a bunch of different ways to get access. But if not, if you don't have access, we still have our Fight Science MMA class. So that is catch wrestling at the MMA studio called Fight Science MMA, which is located in Midtown Los Angeles. That where they're actually they're really starting to get a lot of traction, a lot of momentum. So they already have one fighter in UFC, and it looks like they have a few champs, right? So one guy is who I've known for a while. He just became an amateur champion in one of the big promotions, and then we also have one person who takes my class who became a Muay Thai champion. So yeah, that place is really up and coming. So you can join that gym if you want. But say if you only want to take my catch wrestling class, then you don't have to join the gym. It's just like a drop-in fee, and that's totally fine. They just really want you to sign the waiver, the liability waiver, so that you don't hold us liable if any injury occurs. So uh, that's probably the easiest way to train. But yeah, if you have access to UCLA, that's like multiple times a week. And then the only thing is, like, because it's a university, and like the school schedule will it'll have breaks, because like they have summer break. So like we were off for like over a month. So they'll have it won't be as continuous as like a full-time martial arts gym that doesn't really take breaks. Maybe one holiday, or one day or something like that out of uh, several, like the way the university takes. So it could take like a month or more, right? Um, okay, so with that being said, we had a bunch of different things also happening. If you want to join, or if you want to train and you're not anywhere near Los Angeles, or anywhere near um, like my good buddy on the East Coast, John Strickland, he trains or he teaches in South Carolina. So if you're not anywhere near like a legit catch wrestling school, feel free to join our Catch Wrestling Alliance Academy, CWA Academy, which is online. So it's our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. Also wanted to mention that we're getting some good response from our newest video course release. So say like if you don't want to be a regular student, you don't have to. We have one-off courses as well. So the newest one is Pressure Pass Volume 2. So that um, that is kind of uh, like for people if you wanted to try to fight against um, what we'd say it's called like seated guard, or some people are calling it nowadays or referring to it nowadays as like open guard, or but when I say open guard, personally I think of like someone you're kind of in you would be both of you are down, right? They had their legs around you and then they open the grip, right? So they have their ankles locked, right? And if they open that'd be open guard. So what I commonly refer to as seated guards. So like maybe you're standing up and then they're um, like coming at you, right? So to me, that's more of seated guard where there's a lot of things going on, especially if you pay attention to the no-gi game, right? Like a lot of people are trying to uh, get leg locks from there, or they're going to try to arm drag you, pull you down, see if they can take your back, stuff like that. So our latest Pressure Pass Volume 2 series covers several things you can do, several catch wrestling principally oriented things that you can do like to combat that. So either still pass the guard or attack it. And then we have kind of like some videos where like troubleshooting, let's say if things don't quite work out, you have different options. So that just came out a few weeks ago. Just didn't have much time to talk about it. So just wanted to let everyone know. All right. So feel free to check it out. It's on our website. So if you don't want to join anything or whatever, you just want the one-off course or whatever, we have those too. Okay. So kind of want to, I think it's always good to kind of mention um, like what or like my kind of like my origin a little bit because you might be wondering like, well, why is he talking about catch wrestling or whatnot? So let's go ahead and talk about it. Um, um, so I spent years. Uh, I did go to several actually seminars by Billy Robinson, but those seminars just didn't seem to be like adequate. They were kind of like almost gimmicky, like so. I asked Billy. I thought what Billy. I could tell that Billy Robinson had a lot of great things to teach, but it didn't seem like he was quite able to. So I asked to train with him privately, and he allowed me to go train with him in his hometown at so this time it was Little Rock, Arkansas, and so that was like really a great time, but also I had the opportunity to be one of the first groups of students accepted to train in the home of catch wrestling, Wigan, in England, and so they um, they kind of had this whole application process at which they accepted me, and so they knew I was training with Billy Robinson and whatnot. So I ended up going to Wigan like basically 5 years in a row, and each time we would train with their head coach. Uh, and people have to know that so their head coach Roy Wood is actually kind of like the lineage holder of the Wigan style, or at least the Billy Riley's style there. So Billy Riley was the legendary coach who coach, of course, Roy, and then all the people who you might have heard of, right? So who have maybe some hype train behind them, like Billy Robinson and Carl. Um, I don't want to call him Gotch because he wasn't a real Gotch. That wasn't his real family name, but he took it later. Um, it's Carl Istas, I believe. Um, so I think it kind of confuses people. So just know he wasn't the same family as Frank Gotch. Um, so, but training in Wigan, England, and competing there, I mean, I met several of Riley's wrestlers. So it's not just Carl or Billy who trained with him. It was several. there were several students, right? Several students who were training and competing. Uh, so, I'd spent a lot of time there. I won every match. They gave, every person they put up against me, even Roy's assistant coach. Um, and so I really had this passion to learn, passion to do things in a catch wrestling way. And I feel like, the journey isn't done, but I also have have received training from the American. So now the Frank Gotch lineage, right, of catch wrestling from my good buddy on the East Coast, John Strickland. His organization is called American Hook Wrestling. They're based out of South Carolina, and you can find them on their Facebook page, American Hook Wrestling. Just put that into the search bar. You should be able to find it easily. So there are some differences, but the thing is, what really struck me was that one day we'd already got invited to do some seminars in Singapore, and so I took with me one of John Strickland's best students. His name is Matt Tran. So Matt, he's kind of special, and I've already referred to him several times through several of our podcasts. Right, he is special in that he had never trained in outside grappling arts. So so you basically a lot of times nowadays people are like maybe they come from jujitsu, they've been doing jujitsu for a while, or maybe amateur wrestling, and then they want to supplement their game with some catch wrestling techniques. So that might be what is a little bit more common, but that is not Matt's case. He grew up in that area around John Strickland, and he'd been training only in catch wrestling his entire career, and so he's like this. Uh, he basically really knows it well. And so what I wanted to do when we were in Singapore is that I would teach one thing, he would teach another thing. And what I found is that um the even though like these lineages were kind of like the American and the British were separated by all these years or all these decades, it was very, very similar. It's kind of like was it like a archaeology kind of thing where scientists see these similarities in the animals that live uh, you know, hundreds of miles away, but they have a similar ancestor, something like that. So that's kind of how it felt, where it was like kind of easy to, uh, and like we kind of meshed easily, like what we would teach. We knew exactly what each other was talking about. So in a way, that's kind of how I could really concretely see the like kind of like the legit nature of like what like of or we knew that this was like the real lineage basically. Now, I want to say the legit nature because you know um it's almost like you can tell like that it is the real lineage basically, because not only are there like submission holds, but there are uh like the wrestling is there, and we both kind of know a lot of the same kind of like mat we call mat wrestling. So we that's considered like say wrestling's like ground fighting stuff. So it's just called mat wrestling. That a lot of stuff was like virtually the same. There are little, of course, little variations here and there. Different things are emphasized, but say like the wrestling core is there, right? The wrestling base is there, and of course, like then the wrestling hold stuff. So this is one thing that I think people kind of get confused about too. Say stuff like the double wrist lock and stuff. So nowadays they're called submission holds, but they weren't. That wasn't quite the situation back at that time. A lot of these holds were considered like wrestling holds, right? So ways to get people to move or ways to get control of people so that you can try to pin them or get control of them. So these moves were all there, and so uh, it was. it was really amazing to see and really great to learn a lot of different aspects from the American lineage. From even kind of spending I've spent a lot of time with Matt Tran, and then also spent a lot of time with John Strickland as well. So John very kindly granted me their highest level of certification there, several years back. So that's been my kind of catch wrestling kind of like pedigree. So it's like not only the Wigan thing, with training with several of Billy Riley's wrestlers, including, of course, Billy Robinson, Roy Wood, um, several of the other guys who were there, like Michael Moore, who's one of the younger wrestlers, but still trained with Billy Riley while he was coaching. And Michael has given me a lot of great advice. Uh, yeah, so all these. So I spent a lot of time with a lot of the old timers, and so unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, they're never going to have that experience or the same experiences that I have had because unfortunately several of the old timers have passed on. Um, so for if you have the chance to train with some of the older wrestlers or especially some of of Riley's wrestlers, you really want to take advantage. Um, oh, so yeah, let's go and get to some questions here. Right. So Drew Galbraith, yeah, he says everything sounds great. Okay, but we have a brand new question right here. Balls, what's up, Balls? Do I have to be a UCLA student to take your class at the college? Uh, we actually kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, but it's good that you ask it again. So no, not exactly. So you don't have to be a student, but you do have to like have some kind of connection to the school. So say like if you live with someone who works there or something like that, I believe, or a student. So if you happen to live with another student, or I think before it used to be like you can join the alumni association even though you're not a student, and then you can get the gym membership. So yeah, so like I was saying earlier, is like you have several people who do that, where it's like they like roommates of one UCLA student, and then like they brought like at least two or three other people who are their roommates, and something like that, where it's like you have to show that you're like a roommate or something like that, and they'll let you join the gym. So that's what it is, being able to join the gym. Maybe you can go to the website. I believe it's like UCLA Recreation, or I think it's probably the better site where you could start and then see what's required of you to be able to get access there. And if you can't, we're at Fight Science MMA. That's a mid city area in Los Angeles, so you feel free to come. Um, so there, you don't have to join the gym if you only want to do catch. So go ahead and check that out as well. Okay, so everyone else, feel free to keep asking questions or commenting. I just wanted to kind of leave it a little bit free so you can ask questions about anything. So yeah, that's totally fine that Balls asked that question. Right. Drew Galbraith, any plans to hold seminars or weekend workshops? Uh, Funny you ask that, right? Um, uh, we just had one student who came from Alaska, Gregory. He spent a whole week here, basically from Saturday, from one Saturday to the next Sunday. So in a way, he kind of made his own access to Fight Science MMA. So there's times when there's no class. So we would fit in training sessions when there was no class being taught at Fight Science. And Fight Science has become like this beautiful facility. They just expanded. They took over the next suite. So the business next door moved out, and so they Fight Science just expanded, and they added like a whole like an MMA cage, like a full on MMA cage, more punching bags and whatnot. So we can set up a camp, or if you want to just come and train, like if you're not in Los Angeles, you want to make the pilgrimage to Los Angeles, feel free. we can try to set some training times up. And then, of course, Greg, when he was here, he also took our group class. So maybe if you or your friends would like to come train in Los Angeles, so we can set up maybe like a mini group, or it's pretty flexible. So and the gym has its own class schedule, and basically we can train in between like the regularly scheduled class. So that's not a problem. So we can definitely like work something out. Um, so or we can yeah, I would kind of like to gauge the interest first before we like just make it where it's like a set camp or something like that. But so feel free to send messages like direct messages to our any of our social media, or you can email. I'm sure there's one way because I don't know if it's through TikTok or one of them kind of allows you to send direct emails. So emails are great. I think even with the Facebook, like our Facebook page for Catch Wrestling Alliance, I think that also is really easy to get messages or send messages. So if you have any questions about coming to train in Los Angeles, please send them there too. Because yeah, basically, if you come, we have access to gyms, so we can train. So please come on through. And also, with speaking about Fight Science MMA, because it took them a few weeks to renovate everything because they actually had to tear down some walls and whatnot that separated the two suites. So now that those walls are gone and all the electrical work is done and the MMA cage is set up, so we definitely want to have regular catch wrestling matches. So anybody who wants to compete, I know we had people asking. So now I think within maybe the next 2 months, because I'm pretty sure all the renovations done in there, so we can probably start having regular catch wrestling matches. Probably within the next 2 months, because let's get everyone a chance to train, so and get back into shape and all that after 4th of July and all that. Because right now there is kind of a lull, a lot of people are going on vacation and whatnot. So let's wait till maybe end of August or something to like have like start having competition. But yeah, definitely we have that's definitely coming, right away. Balls. Let me find your message again. Okay. Have you taught how there are pro wrestling moves that could be effective in catch wrestling or street defense? The Cobra Clutch, for example, the Cobra Clutch or John Cena stuff. Um, well, just know for pro wrestling, they like a lot of the pro wrestling moves kind of like have the seed of a real technique, and a lot of them did. Of course, they took that seed from catch wrestling, and then they just had to make it where it was a little bit bigger of a move so that a whole crowd can know what's going on. So, and then also their opponent would be familiar with what they're trying to do. So then the opponent can, play along as well, or even assist. Like if it's a big lift, they assist with being lifted and stuff. So just know that there definitely is a root of reality in a lot of even some of the big moves of pro wrestling. But unfortunately, so that's the thing. I mean, they talk about like back in the day of pro wrestling, there were a lot of people who did know wrestling, but unfortunately, in order to sell tickets, say if there was somebody who was like really popular with the crowd but didn't really know wrestling, they would still, they would still find ways to or techniques that they could kind of do, and so it became where someone who didn't know real wrestling could totally be a pro wrestling champion. So and then that it just continued on from there for decades and decades. So I know several pro wrestlers and aspiring pro wrestlers and seasoned pro wrestlers, and it's really fun. It's really fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, many of them are honest, and they say that yeah, they like to learn techniques from me because then they realize like, well, this is how it's like really done to actually like submit somebody or pin somebody. Uh, so actually, maybe I'll try to share. There's one of my really good friends and old students is very good at like is a very good pro wrestler. Been doing pro wrestling for I don't know many years. So there's a video of us doing some moves. Um, yeah, so maybe I'll see if I can dig that. I'll see if I can find it and I'll share it on our social media uh, for like on our YouTube shorts and stuff. Yeah, because that happened just a few years ago. Well, it's probably right before COVID, so maybe what 3 years ago now. So I'll try to dig that out. Okay, True Galbraith. What plans do you have for the online academy for the next 12 months? So one thing that just happened. So it's a couple things, right? Uh, so the first thing that happened is our online academy or online community. So our website just had an upgrade, so now you can download an app, which is um, like it's kind of like our version of like Discord uh, or was it Facebook Messenger? I think more like I guess more like Discord, I guess, because basically it's like our community app. So that's part of you get access to that being a Catch Wrestling Alliance or Academy member or CWA Academy member. So there, uh, you not only can you like start commenting in there, trying to like create more of a community or getting to know other people from other parts of like the world where who are also in there. Uh, but in there, we're adding videos more frequently. So we'll have like our set curriculum, and that's kind of how it works. Like on the CWA Academy, we'll have set curriculum stuff that you must know. And then I was putting in like kind of like a monthly uh, Q&A kind of thing where it's like if some topic came up where I thought would be better explained in a video, that'd be kind of like the video of the month. But I put in videos more frequently than that. So and then also too, we just got back from New Zealand a couple weeks ago, and so we did several seminars there. And one was a really cool one. Uh, it was for a karate club for the University of Auckland there. And what was really cool about that is like they were wondering about like how to use catch wrestling or like how they could better use catch wrestling for their karate because they had this style in particular. Don't ask me what style it is. It seems like a lot of people know about all the different Japanese names. I don't. But I guess their style. It wasn't Shotokan. Shotokan is that one that like more kickboxing oriented or whatever. It wasn't that one, but they do a lot. I guess their the way they're explaining it to me is like their style is a little bit more free, so they do have a lot of like takedowns and stuff like that. So not quite judo, still very much karate like, but they wanted to see like how the stand up takedown stuff of catch wrestling uh, could be like integrated to their style, and so they seem to be really happy with the stuff I showed them. Showed several takedowns, several follow throughs, some submission holds and stuff. So they were really happy. So what I'm going to do, or what I've already started doing, was uh, cutting up some of the clips, like the instructional part, and then uploading it directly to the like that CWA community, which is part of the CWA Academy. So yeah, that's kind of like the main thing that's going on. And so the what I would like to see is people because there's several people who are part of it who like they don't really comment. So if I would like to see more of that, maybe I'll try to make it more mandatory for people to be commenting in there so that um, like you can get a wider variety of people because there's some people that who maybe said one thing or not, or like one thing every once in a while, and just want to know how they're doing, how they're progressing. So because what's cool about it is that we can easily and more quickly like kind of like assess any situation. Anybody can ask any question at any time. So it's very cool. It's very worth um, like the price of admission basically is, adds so much value. So people should, all they really need to do is take advantage of it. I know Gregory, the Alaskan who came to train, is really taking advantage of it. There's some, a few other people who are asking questions in there. So I've added videos based off their questions and comments. So yeah, it's very interactive, basically. So I think the community thing makes it just really great and really fun. So I would say like don't be shy, right? Just comment, you know. Yeah, Drew Galbraith. Maybe prompt questions or scenarios would help. Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think there's a option in there too, just like a lot of other community apps where you can at everyone, right? So I think sometimes people don't get notified when like there's a chat going on or people are commenting on stuff. But yeah, I saw that it does have that feature where you can like basically notify everyone. So we'll definitely use that. So uh, yeah, just getting people more involved, I think will make it even more fun. Um, yeah, because there are a bunch of people who seem to be somewhat like serious, but they don't like serious in studying, and then but they don't comment so much. So I guess maybe they're more introverted or whatever. But let's get to know where everyone is because then you can go if you have to travel, maybe you can go train or find someone who's nearby and you can train together, which is great. Or that's like a huge plus. Because now, say if you're in New Zealand, so like New Zealand, I don't know those of you who know about it. It's like basically two islands. I guess there's like a little third one, super tiny one off the southern tip. Um, but at least across the North Island now, you'll definitely have a place to train. So whether you're on the West Coast, the major city of Auckland, we have people training there. Then also on the East Coast, so in the area called Hawke's Bay, which means is there's a bunch of there are few communities there, so you can definitely find people to train with on either side of the North Island. Maybe next year we can see what we can do about the South Island, but the South Island is like much less populated from what I understand. So the majority of people are all on the North Island. Let me see. Drew Galbraith. As a student of the Academy, I would like to see live content or live online classes. That would help the students feel connected. See what we can do. Sometimes live, especially in the UCLA's gym, like the Wi-Fi is like it just doesn't work really. And also too, I don't think we have Wi-Fi on the Fight Science MMA, so it would just be difficult. Maybe we can try to film some stuff, just like how we did in Auckland. Uh, we can do some of that. It's just uh, the Wi-Fi situation. It would just what you might see live or whatever. I guess would be like all pixelated and stuff, or it might just drain our batteries or something. But yeah, we can see because I think UCLA is supposed to have Wi-Fi, but in the gym, it just it's not good. It's not good. But yeah, we can see what we can do. But yeah, probably most likely in fight science, maybe it'd be easier because we can use some mobile. We probably maybe do shorter things, shorter video live streams in there because yeah, in the community we can do live streams, which is also really cool. And but yeah, maybe we can do some shorter things, and then when the phone dies out or whatever, then so stream until the phone dies, I guess. You can try to work on that. So keep on asking questions or comments. Uh, so I'll be here. definitely have some time today, and I want to try to make sure that we can do these more regularly. So just trying to be here for you guys as well. So if you have any questions, even about catch wrestling, one of the things I wanted to talk about too is not only because I mentioned earlier we have our new Pressure Pass series. It's our online course that's on our website. The Pressure Pass Volume 2 is actually techniques that I use like all the time. So if you were to purchase that and study that, then uh, some things might look like maybe a little like different, out of the ordinary. But what I try to do is kind of show um, like kind of like step by step. So it's progressive. So like I show you kind of like the base principle where a lot of the other techniques are derived from, and then show you ways to kind of like troubleshoot, like if things don't kind of go smoothly. But the thing is about that is like these techniques I use like all the time, and I've trained extensively like at 10th Planet. Also, more recently, too, been training a lot of pedigo submission fighting, which people probably know them better as like it's called Daisy Fresh. Daisy Fresh is becoming like this really popular up and coming jujitsu school. Where they try to blend more wrestling into their jujitsu. I've trained a lot at um, one of the Gracie academies in San Francisco. Um, and so I'm using these techniques, against all people from all different jujitsu schools. So that's kind of the idea like behind the Pressure Pass Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's ways to incorporate catch wrestling principles into like a no-gi situation, because I know a lot of you, or basically there's tons of no-gi competitions going on. Um, so, uh, you know, feel freer to take part in those kinds of competitions. If just try to. So basically, what happens is like, so you get someone who claims to be doing catch wrestling, and then when they get into a jujitsu situation, then all of a sudden they're doing jujitsu, right? You don't really see the catch wrestling anymore. You see these people like on their backs and trying all the stuff that wouldn't be that don't really look characteristic of catch wrestling. So wanted to kind of show how to use catch wrestling principles in these scenarios as well. So it's really helpful. Even what Greg from Alaska who came to visit, he was one of the first people to get that course, and he was using it here. I took him to Daisy Fresh to the open mat to train, and yeah, he was passing guards and getting in, submitting people, very easily. So this stuff really really works. Of course, everything takes practice. It's not just like an overnight thing, um, but I tried to put a lot of the stuff that I use like regularly against like no-gi jujitsu situations, and it works so well. So I'm hoping that uh, you know if you're interested, go ahead and take advantage of that. It's on our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. So feel free. Also, if there are any other questions, keep asking. There, usually people ask, say like about what Drew asked. Also, people ask about competition. So hopefully, we get some competition going. Uh, more frequently now that the Fight Side MMA has expanded and whatnot. Um, so if you're interested in competing, just let us know. It'd be great to just keep things going, so we can have like an evening of a few matches and stuff. So let's try for it. All right. So I think with that being said, let's go ahead and maybe sign off. Thank you for listening, and just keep learning. We want to help you elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive.